Hi everyone, welcome to the trophy guide and walkthrough for Crow Country. This is an old school type survival horror game. It recently was placed free on PlayStation Plus Extra, and it's actually pretty fun. So I figured a lot of people probably watch these guides because you also play on PlayStation and most likely have subscriptions to PS Plus. So I thought this would be very fitting to do a guide on. It's a relatively short game. There are only 4 videos set to lay out the process, so it'll be really quick, and I wouldn't say easy. It does have its difficult moments to get the platinum trophy, because you do have to get certain trophies based on the difficulty level. I'm going to start this video by asking you to like and subscribe so that you don't forget. A lot of times putting these at the end, it can be easy to forget to hit those buttons, but YouTube really likes it and so do I. They really help the channel grow. So if you don't mind, do that little favor for me and we can get right into this game. So when you start, you want to make sure that a few things are done before actually getting into the game. So in order to make this a little bit shorter, we are going to begin on the hardest difficulty required for a trophy. So go into your settings. You can look at game. Make sure the extra lives are turned off. We do not want to use any extra lives. Part of getting an S rank is not using any lives. You can look at your control settings, and I put the combat controls on modern. Don't use classic unless you're wanting kind of tank controls. Modern controls are much easier. When you start a new game, as you can see in my load menu, there's nothing there. So when you start a new game, you can choose exploration, survival, or murder of crows. We want survival horror. That is the hardest difficulty required for platinum. So we can just get it done in one playthrough. Here at the start, you'll see the year clicks all the way down to 1990. That's when this game is set. And if you pay attention to what our protagonist says, you will see that she is declaring her name is Mara Forrest and reminding herself not to forget it. For story purposes, this is kind of important. In your first playthrough, you may think she's talking to you. She's actually talking to herself. So once we get to our destination, the first thing that we want to do is walk around to the back of our car and open up the trunk. Inside of here, you can get some handgun bullets. Make sure to grab that before we actually enter the park. Over in this corner by the wall, you can pick up a med kit. We do need to be aware that we have to stay under 8 healing items. Using under 8 healing items. So those med kits, the cylindrical ones, that counts as 1 heal. There are large med kits, those count as 2. So we want to stay away from those unless absolutely necessary. And then there are antidotes for poison. Those count as 1 heal as well. Shoot the lock on the door to enter the park proper. And here we're going to see a flashlight on the ground as well as a diagram that gives you what you need to know to actually work the controls properly. You can check the trash cans. They look like purple crows. Checking those out, you can often get items from them. Most of the time it's just trash, but sometimes you can get items. Don't forget to pick up the flashlight. We're going to be needing it. As you continue through the park, you'll see more trash cans. You can check these out. We did get a large med kit. I think we're only going to use one of those through the entire playthrough. There's a bathroom to the left, some handgun ammo on the ground, and there are these little signs that are hung up all over the park. They're not needed for a trophy, but I do check all the ones that I notice. You can, or you don't have to. It's completely up to you. We're going to enter this bathroom first. And in here on the floor is a laser sight. You want to make sure to pick this up as it will attach to our handgun and make it a little bit easier. The second stall from the left, we're going to come back here all the way at the end. There is a secret hidden there. There are 15 secrets in the entire game, and you must find all of them. We cannot access that one at the moment, but make a mental note that it is there. We will be back later to tend to that. Once you exit the bathroom, we're going to go to the left, and you'll notice when you go in and out of doors, the layout is always a little bit different because you'll be looking at it from a different angle. So just be aware of that. Now, the train room and the gift shop, those doors are locked. We're going to find keys for those later. Over here, this machine here is the fortune teller. We do not want to use the fortune teller. It gives you hints on things that you need to do, and we do not want to use any of them at all through the playthrough. Those glass jars can be shot to obtain an item inside, and those items are always different. Most of the items in this game are different. Beware, right here there is a bear trap and it can injure you. Stay away from that. So yes, if you see, like if I pick up handgun bullets, you may find an antidote. Those items change all the time. These little notes that you see all over the wall will often give hints. The soda machines, you can kick them and sometimes they will drop an item for you. This door here needs a key. We're going to find that key. I think there are 3 keys in the entire game, and they open multiple doors typically, except for one. I think there's one key that only opens one door. You can also shoot those wooden crates, and they will sometimes have items inside as well. Later on in the game, you will have to be careful because there will be items that look just a little bit different. So, like the med kit has a green stripe in the middle. If you see one with a purple stripe, do not open it. It will poison you, or they will explode. There are handgun bullets and things like that as well that are purple later on. We do not want to interact with any of those items. Go in through the next area. You will see there's 2106 written on the papers on the ground. That's actually not a code for anything. Just, I'll explain what it is later, but it's not a code, so don't worry about it. Typically, it's worth using the single pistol bullet to open up the jars. If you see something in there that you really need, go ahead and use the pistol bullet because those bullets are you get them very frequently. Here you can see this picture on the camera. We're not exactly sure what it is, but I think we're going to get a close-up pretty soon of what that could be. Note the ferry here with the keypad next to it. We'll be back shortly to deal with that. Go find Arthur and talk to him. We are going to help him. They don't actually speak to each other. You just read their dialogue. I don't cut out much dialogue. I think at the end I do cut some sequences out because they are just so long and dialogue heavy. So once you have exhausted the dialogue, you want to give a healing item to Arthur. You can give him a large med kit if you have one. If not, a small med kit will work. Don't give him an antidote. He doesn't need it right now. We want to also choose to move Arthur. So you'll get this blank screen for a minute, and then we'll spawn back in around the same area that we were. We're still in the fairy tale town on this long street. Be careful of that trap. So if you go back to where Arthur was sitting, you see a code 3184 for the tree lady. We are going to be using that on the ferry that we saw just a minute ago or so. There are items scattered about. Be sure to pick them up, and you can read all of these. These tips and tricks do help on your first playthrough. There's an exploding barrel right there, the red barrel. When enemies are around, you can damage them pretty good using those. We want to go all the way to the end, and the door opening to the left. You want to enter that hallway. There are some enemies here. Just try to dodge them. You can come and check this out if you like. It's story information, but it's nothing that we absolutely need. All of these things here, though, these notes that are scattered about, you do want to read all of those because they give insight into places that you need to go, things you need to check out, and different codes that can help you. The one door we can enter here goes into a safe room. Make a mental note of this safe room. So there I kicked the soda machine. It didn't give me anything. There are lots of, in every safe room, you'll usually find items that you can pick up. And you'll also find, there'll be books that show you all of the employee notes that are left around. And you can also see all the tips and tricks that you have found for gameplay purposes. Each room also has some sort of a fire, and the fire works as your save system. So come through this room, read everything, and there is a map on the wall right next to the fireplace. Be sure to grab that, and then you can go into your inventory, open up the map, and see the places that you have been, or you can see places that you have a map for, even if you haven't been there. So the red areas are doors that are locked. The gray areas, I think we haven't checked yet and we don't know for sure. Here's the staff memos that we have found. You can always, in every safe room, you can look at these and they can help you to figure out things you need to do. This keypad here, I'm going to go ahead and give you the code. It is 8891, and you get the trophy for secret map. This gives you the map of secrets, which you'll access on your regular map. I will show you how you get that code. We're doing it now just to make the video shorter, but just so that you know I didn't just cheat, I'm going to show you how I found that code later on. It's much, much later before we actually find the code. So just so that we don't have to wait and then come back to find the secrets, we're doing it now. Make your save before you leave this room. I am going to be saving very often. You can save as many times as you like, and it does not affect your rank at the end of the game. Pretty much the only thing that affects the rank at the end of the game is the amount of times that you heal, whether or not you use any hints, whether or not you use any extra lives. Those are the most important things. So yeah, you don't have to worry about saving too much. We're gonna mostly try to avoid enemies and just run away from them when possible. You will have to kill them sometimes. So once we exit, you want to go to the right of the exit door, and we need to head back to the tree lady here. The ferry, we input the code we found, 3184. That's where Arthur was sitting. And then when you speak to the lady, you have to fill in the blanks. And we read this in the safe room. There was a file that showed what you're supposed to say to the fairy. So choose "Hear me, oh great fairy of fairest forest," and then she'll move out of the way and you can go through the opening in the tree that she is in. Once we are in here, you can inspect the water. It's very dirty. We need to clean it up. And you can, read the sign there also. So in order to do this, we need to go pull back this curtain. And you can see there is a gauge there. We need to get the needle to the middle where there's a white strip. So right now it's in the red. We need to get it to the white strip in the middle. So come through the little fence here. And that red valve handle, we're going to have to turn it a few times. I think the magic number is 6, but you can turn it more than that if you need more time, because once you turn it, so yeah, tighten it at least 6 times. And then go back through the fence, and you need to make sure to push this button while the green needle is pointing to the white section in the middle. That will clean out this water, and then you can see there is a target underneath the water. We want to shoot that target, and then the fairy will pop up, and she will give us a key. This is the bronze key. It's going to open up several doors, some of them in Crow Country. In the very first area that we were in, some of those doors were locked. This key will open up some of those doors. Before we leave, you want to go back through the fence, and there's a hidden room back here. You can check these trash cans as well. Sometimes they have items inside. We didn't get anything good. There's a staff memo on the wall. And then over to the right side, there's a panel here. You want to interact with that panel. I found shotgun shells. I don't know if that's a static item or if it changes, but most of the items in this game do change. Just letting you know. So you may not get the same items that I get. There's a model crow here. We want to inspect it closer and take the magnum laser. This is the first secret of the game. We don't have the magnum yet, but we can go ahead and collect the laser now. Once we go back into this room, there will be an enemy. Just run past it. And as we exit, we need to go... I accidentally pushed pause, but I wanted to show you guys the map. So here, when you open your map, you can push the triangle button to access the secrets, and it will show you with a check mark the secrets that you have found, and an X mark the secrets you have not found, and where they are located. So you can see we have a lot of secrets to find. We have only found 1. So we're going to head back over to Crow Country. So when you exit the tree, you want to go to the right. In this area to the left, there's a big monster here. I am going to try to avoid him. I don't want to waste ammo on him. I did open up this panel behind this little wooden birdhouse, but we can't do anything with that just yet. At the very end of the game, we're going to need to move that crow, but that's much later. So we need to go to this door here and unlock it. Now, when you're using an item, the enemies won't attack you, but it takes a minute for the door to open, so I'm going to bait this guy away so that I can get through that door and not have to deal with fighting him. This is going to take us to the haunted hilltop. When you walk in here, usually the first time you enter an area, there aren't really enemies. To the left, there is a dungeon, but to the right, we want to open up this little door here and grab the map. This is the map specifically for Haunted Hilltop. And you can see there are secrets here. Most of the secrets we can't get to immediately. We have to find special items to be able to access them, or codes. So, once you kind of have an idea of where you are and what's going on in this area, we can walk to the right and you'll see a lady standing by a door where she's knocking. There's nothing in that trash can. You want to go and speak to her. This is Julie. She's a lawyer. Exhaust all of her dialogue before moving on, and you'll know if you still have things that need to be said, there'll be a little text bubble above the NPC's head. So now what we want to do is turn around. We want to go to the right from where Julie was. There is an enemy there. No, we didn't get anything again. This has been a bad luck run. There's a house to the left where the enemy is. And to the right, there's a crypt. There, I just baited that monster into the bear trap. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now the bear trap is done. And so is the enemy. And that little one, I just took care of him. Now, once you leave an area and then come back, sometimes new enemies will spawn. Sometimes once you defeat the enemies, they're gone for good. It kind of just depends on how far into the progress of the game that you are. So go down the steps to the crypt and you'll see we're locked in here. And there's a gun pointing at us. There's a compass in the middle. What we need to do is inspect these tombs with the faces on them. And we need to turn the heads in the direction that associate with their name. So Norbert Easley, we need to turn his head northeast. Then come over here to Solomon Wesselby. Southwest is the direction that he needs to face. Here, this one is Estelle, so it faces just straight east. And the final one is Solina, and that has to face south. Also, make a note of Solina's death year. That's going to be important. Now, this isn't open. We have to open this a different way later on. You can check this trash can if you like. I've had really bad luck with trash cans this run. Don't forget to check this staff memo. And there should be a med kit on the shelf there. Once you come here, you may think you can take this shotgun, but you actually can't. But once you try, you'll see it's fake. And when you go to leave this area, an enemy will burst through. And this enemy is actually a mini boss. There is a trophy for defeating all 4 mini bosses that are in the game. You do not have to. You can skip them. But if you want that trophy, you're going to have to do it. So that's number 1 down. Once he's done, go in the little cubby hole where he was, and we can push a button in there, and that will open up the gate for us to continue. And then you can go up the steps where the gate fell. This is a save area. There, again, are lots of staff memos around. There are magazines, there are books that show you everything that you found as far as tips and tricks and staff memos. And those become more and more important as you go along because they give information that helps you later on. So go ahead and look through everything here and then we will move on. Yeah, by the way, if you notice that one, there are chandelier traps that are coming later and they got me quite a few times, so be careful of those. Now once we come down this hallway, oh, I got lucky. You'll see that there is a safe in the corner. I'm going to give you the code to the safe and immediately after show you how I got the code. So the code is 1872. And right next to this safe, there is a book that talks about the year that Solina died. And that's actually the safe code. So you find that code twice. You find it when you're doing the puzzle where you move the heads. And you also find it here. Inside of this safe is a crank handle, which we are going to need. So there you see the year Solina died. You would have to go back and check. You would have to go back and check the gravestone if you didn't make note of it. We can come and open up this door, and this allows Julie to come inside of this room. They'll have a little bit of dialogue. Julie will come in and She's going to do a few things. So make sure that you exhaust all dialogue with Julie before we move on. Once you finish talking to Julie, you can take a look at all of the items that she laid out on this table. These are not very important for progression. It's really just to fill in some gaps in the actual story. So take your time and read that if you're interested. I think the story is pretty good. I find it was a little boring at first, I think, and then once you get to the end and they kind of wrap it all together, it makes a lot more sense, and this is kind of neat, actually. It's innovative. The barrel is your save point. Be sure to make a save while we are in here. We want to save very often because it's very easy to die and then you'd have to backtrack and go and redo so much stuff. So it doesn't take anything away to save, so make sure that you do it at every opportunity. And once we are finished in here, we are going to head back down the stairs over to where we fought the mini-boss. So directly ahead to the left, we're going to head down those stairs and then back up the stairs and go over to the little house. There shouldn't be any enemies in here. Now once we come up the stairs, you want to just go straight ahead and ring this bell 5 times. If you talk to the chicken, it'll honk or click or cluck, whatever it is, 5 times. That's the code for how many times to ring the bell in order to open the doors and get inside of this house. We're going to come back here later for something else, but for right now, what we want to do is answer the ringing phone. This dialogue just goes on until the caller hangs up. There are some bullets here behind the piano. I think it's always handgun ammo. And when we get over here, I am going to do this backwards. I should have done it the other way. But those 2 clocks over there, we can use the crank handle on those clocks. And the left clock, when you put the crank handle in to use it, you want to wind it to the time 10:20. Then you set it, move over to the right clock, and we want to set that one to 11:15. And when we do that, you'll see there's a gem that pops out of the devil's mouth, and then when you actually read the painting, it gives you the answer. So I should have read the painting first and then did the clocks, but I did it backwards. Either way, that's where you get the solution from. Here I'm just taking a look at the map. When you push the secret button, it will tell you how many you have found in the bottom left corner, how many you found versus how many there are total, and you do have to find all 15. So once we exit here, you can either run from the enemies or take care of them. It is completely up to you. Watch out for those little tiny ones. They die with just 1 bullet, but they are quite annoying. Once you leave that area, this phone will be ringing over here by the fortune teller. So answer the phone, and you can go to the opposite wall. You can see there's a hole for a crank there. You can crank open that door if you like. We're not headed to that area just yet, but you can go ahead and get it opened up now if you like. The area that leads to is a sort of ocean area. It's probably my least favorite area. I don't know why, I just don't care for it. Okay, so we want to go back to Fairy Tale Town, which is behind the birdhouse. Do be careful, there are lots of enemies here, and there are probably some traps. Head up the set of stairs to the left. This is where the swan boats are. So if you try to interact with the wheel, it won't work, but we can put that gem we just found in that mechanism, and then we can steer the swan. So you want to steer the swan around this contraption in the middle and get it to come over to the break in the fence right in front of us. It's to our left. And then we can go and interact with the swan and take the chain from around its neck. And we're going to need this for later. There is a staff memo on the wall there, which you could probably interact with first. And then there's a newspaper, which just gives you some basic info on the story itself. If you walk over to the other side, there is another staff memo, and there should be an item on the ground. I think this time it's shotgun shells, but it could be something different for you. Most of these items are orangey. Once we leave this swan boat area, we're going to be back in the main part of Fairy Tale Town. Go straight across and use the bronze key on this tiny little mailbox to open up the door to the little house. And when we go inside, there's some sort of equipment in here. Straight ahead, that green tank, you want to use the crank on the pipe, and it's going to allow some water to flow through. You can check out all the items in here. Yeah, when you aim, it automatically aims the weapon in whatever direction that Mara is facing. So just be aware of that. On the other side, if you go over to the large machine in the middle, that is, it has like a chain or something going down the hole. You want to go interact with the part over here. And you can attach the chain that we just got onto this. Once you move it, you see it doesn't do anything because the chain is missing. And then we can turn the crank and it will pull something up out of the hole in the ground. But in order for us to access it, we have to use the flamethrower to melt the resin. So if you have picked up any gasoline along the way, there should have been plenty of times where you picked some up. Put it in the tank behind the green flamethrower and then interact with the flamethrower. It will melt the resin, and then we will be able to get the mask that's trapped inside. We're going to use this mask over at the haunted hilltop. Before you leave, go behind this red machine and that green bucket. It has the shotgun laser inside, and that is secret number 2. So be sure to grab that before you exit this area. Here I'm just checking the map. It shows that we did find the secret in the dig site. And we want to head to a save point next, because we're going to be ending the video at the next save, and what we do next is probably, for me anyway, it was the most difficult part of the entire game. You'll see why in the next one. So you want to make sure to save and prepare before entering this area. So we are going to head over to the save room, which is all the way to the right when you exit that house. The last opening on the left. Beware that there are enemies here, and there is also a chandelier trap here now. So don't let it fall on you. Head over into this save room. Make your save, and we're going to end this video here. So thank you all so much for watching. Like I said in the beginning, please like and subscribe if you are finding this helpful or entertaining. And we're going to meet right back here in part 2 tomorrow. So until then, Khajiit always has wares.